fam? It's your girl Ashley and I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about roundabouts in the UK and why the US hate them. I personally don't mind the roundabouts. I mean, I know how to drive. A lot of people don't know how to drive and don't know how to use the roundabout, so I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't like them here in the US. But if you're new here and would like to check out my other videos, the link will be up at the top. If you guys would like to join my Patreon or connect with me on Instagram, links will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Enough of me talking, let's get straight into this reaction.
You know how England likes to call some of its intersections circuses, and it doesn't make any sense? Well, here's one roundabout that actually deserves the title, even if it doesn't get it. Your first thought upon seeing Swindon's magic roundabout might be, man, the Brits are really off their rockers lately.
That, I'm not gonna lie, this looks crazy. It does look confusing. However, if I'm taught how to drive in this roundabout, I'll be able to get it. I will be able to get it. I mean, it looks like it might be pretty simple once you learn how to go. I wonder if they do they have any traffic signs telling you which way to go? I see that they have wording on the street that says keep clear, but I don't see any, any signs.
But this thing, which is actually 7 roundabouts in one, has been working for 60 years. In a regular roundabout, traffic moves in one direction.
Yeah.
In Swindon Circle, cars move both ways. Also, drivers can move from point A to point B without having to drive all the way around the circle.
Oh, that seems so easy.
But they do have the option to use different routes to get to the same exit in order to avoid traffic. It may look chaotic, but it's actually pretty efficient because it means less fighting for space. You just point your vehicle toward where you want to go, yield to cars already in the midst of the magic, then Brexit on the other side.
Oh, that's easy!
Many Americans may hate roundabouts, but they can actually cut serious crashes by 30%. Swindon says its roundabout has only seen 1 fatal crash in the past 5 years.
That is so easy now that I see it, and while she's explaining it, that's super duper easy. That's not confusing. The drone shot of the whole roundabout showing the 7 circles seemed confusing, but it's not. It's not at all. Right here, hold on. It's not confusing at all.
You just point your vehicle toward where you want to go, yield to cars already in the midst of the magic, then Brexit on the other side.
See? People in the US, right? They don't know how to drive. They don't know when to yield. They don't know who has the right of way. A lot of people really can't drive and they always in a rush. That literally pisses me off. It's crazy. Yeah, no, this is easy. The roundabout, at first I thought it was complicated, but it's not. You just yield, point in the direction you want to go. I guess you put on your signals, your left, your right.
Many Americans may hate roundabouts, but they can actually cut serious crashes by 30%. Swindon says its roundabout has only seen 1 fatal crash in the past 5 years. So to celebrate a town anniversary, they paraded over 60 vintage cars through this feat of traffic engineering. Is this madness? Nope. It's Swindon.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's not difficult at all.
Carmel, Indiana is home to an unusual record. The city of 97,000 people north of Indianapolis boasts over 125 modern roundabouts, more than any other U.S. city, and they're proud of it. This number accounts for 3% of the country's 4,000 total roundabouts. But compared to other countries, the U.S. is not holding any records. France has the most roundabouts with over 30,000 constructed across the country.
30,000?
It is
That's a
followed
lot.
closely by the United Kingdom with 25,000 roundabouts. So how did one small Midwestern city become the roundabout capital of the U.S.? The reason can be credited to Mayor Jim Brainerd. During his graduate school trip to England, he observed the ease and safety of the country's numerous roundabouts. Drivers were yielding to traffic and to bikes and to pedestrians. No unsightly traffic signals and no long lines or congestion.
Yeah, that's how our roundabout
why
looks.
the U.S. had not built more roundabouts. When Brainerd was elected mayor of Carmel in 1996, he made it his mission to cover the city with roundabouts. But an ease in traffic congestion was not the only reason behind his campaign. In fact, the roundabout is the intersection of choice for many modernized countries because of its proven safety. Carmel, Indiana alone has seen a reduction in the number of injuries from car accidents by about 80% since the 1990s. So if roundabouts are increasing safety for drivers, why is America lagging behind?
I hate them. They're the worst things ever.
Just Americans like me hate it and
What?
don't think they're necessary.
Where do y'all live at?
I think that it's taking a long time and I'm scared I'm gonna miss the exit I need, and so I end up going maybe 2 or 3 times.
Because you don't know how to follow
more than I need to.
directions.
There are over 300,000 existing signalized intersections in the United States. According to the Federal Highway Administration, more than 50% of the combined total of fatal and injury crashes occur at or near these intersections. On average, over 10,000 people are killed each year in collisions at them. Yet, studies show that modern roundabouts reduce accidents by 38% and fatal crashes up to 90%. So why does the collision rate drastically drop? Well, the answer lies in the construction. A roundabout is a small one-way circular intersection built around a raised center island. Drivers must yield to circulating traffic as they enter and exit at their desired street. Because drivers are forced to slow down upon entry, the collision rate drops.
Yeah.
They are no longer racing to beat the red light. Even if an accident occurs, injuries are less likely due to the lower speeds.
People is always trying to beat the red light. So usually when you see the light turning yellow, people are racing to beat the red light, and that causes accidents. So I don't understand why they saying that they hate roundabouts. It's the most easiest thing ever, unless they don't know when to yield. A lot of people don't know what yielding means.
Take note though, this is the definition specifically for what is called the modern roundabout. This is because the modern roundabout is often confused with the similar intersections known as traffic circles or rotaries. Unlike modern roundabouts, traffic circles are much larger in shape. Drivers enter traffic circles in a straight line at faster speeds, and they're not required to yield to oncoming traffic. In modern roundabouts, drivers navigate a gentle curve at a slower pace. Traffic circles often use stoplights or stop signs within the circular intersection. This is Columbus Circle in New York City. Built in 1905, it's considered to be the world's first traffic circle. Following its construction, large traffic circles began spreading around the United States.
A lot of people don't know how to drive.
Because their layout enabled high-speed merging and weaving, they caused more vehicle collisions and they quickly fell out of favor.
Big issue with these circles was safety. The fact that cars had to suddenly be stopped in the middle of it while everyone's coming in at speed, and that's scary.
That's Gordon Meth, a civil engineer.
And not all our cars performed as fast as others, then they would get congested. Those were the reasons why circles fell out of fashion, and a lot of government agencies went around trying to get rid of circles.
By the 1950s, development slowed to a halt worldwide. Fast forward to 1966. A city engineer named Frank Blackmore of the United Kingdom wanted to rectify the problems caused by traffic circles. So, he developed what is now known as the modern roundabout. Blackmore established the give-way rule for his modern roundabouts, which required entering drivers to yield to circulating traffic. This created a much safer intersection than the original traffic circles. The idea quickly gained favor, and the modern roundabout began spreading throughout parts of Europe. The changes Blackmore made were successful, and over time, accident rates dropped drastically. But the trend was not catching on in the United States. Engineers weren't convinced that the improvements Blackmore enacted were safer for drivers, and Americans still had a largely unpopular opinion about them. So, American engineer Leif Arston set out to change that. In 1984, Arston reached out to Blackmore for help. In 1941, Sir Winston Churchill asked America to join Britain in a struggle to protect democracy. We join you, and together we triumphed. Now, 45 years later, I am calling upon you to help me with the difficult struggle in which we are both engaged. We are trying to bring the British-style roundabout to the Western Hemisphere. The fighting is tough, the slogging is slow, and the resistance is stiff. In the spirit of Anglo-American cooperation, will you join us and lend a hand? Blackmore quickly agreed to a meeting with Arston and traveled to the United States. Together, the two set out around the state of California, persuading traffic heads to begin building modern roundabouts.
Oh, wow.
However, the public was not convinced. Surveys showed only 20% of drivers approved of their construction. Even if project proposals for roundabouts were approved, the two men were often met with protest, and the plans were quickly shut down. Finally, in 1990, Arston and Blackmore's hard work paid off, and the first two modern roundabouts were successfully constructed in a Las Vegas subdivision. The feat caught the attention of city planners. Other communities followed in their footsteps, and roundabouts slowly began popping up around the U.S. Although construction started later in the U.S., the timeline of events is not an exclusive explanation for the lack of roundabouts. In fact, there are a few theories that could account for the answer. First, the American detestation for roundabouts could derive from what is called the availability heuristic. This term describes the way people form an opinion on something based on the immediate thoughts or memories that are associated with it. The scene of Clark Griswold getting trapped while driving in a traffic circle and European Vacation may come to mind.
Oh, and he kept going around in circles.
It's a big secret camera. Get left. There's Big Ben kids, Parliament.
I remember that movie.
Or perhaps the time Homer Simpson drives hopelessly around the Lambeth Bridge roundabout before swerving out in a desperate attempt to escape the never-ending nightmare.
Turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning.
I see an opening.
Only to crash into the Queen of England herself.
That's it. I'm acting the way America acts best. Unilaterally.
When thinking about modern roundabouts, many Americans tend to envision traffic circles. This is an easy misconception because the two appear similar at first glance. Ever since the fallout of the original traffic circle that enabled high collision rates in the early 1900s, Americans were left with a bad taste in their mouths. So, the assumption that modern roundabouts will be just as dangerous is formed. Plus, American drivers might simply just be used to traffic lights.
Yes,
We're
depends.
just used to intersections and traffic signals historically. I've found that the public sometimes don't like four-way stops where everyone has to stop and yield. They just don't like them because
They don't
there's a lot of
know.
traffic. They get kind of confused.
They get confused because they don't know how to drive, where and when and to go.
I think you get the same effect in a roundabout. You know, the uncertainty level gets to people. There's something comforting, I think, to the red, yellow, green that tells you it's time to go or not go.
Yeah.
They are comfortable with a binary system that controls
Exactly.
their actions and makes decisions for them.
Yes.
Red light stop, green light go.
Go.
Simple enough, right? In a sense, drivers care more.
And yellow light means hurry up and speed. Try to beat the red light.
About the illusion of safety created by stoplights. But when they are forced to rely on their own driving abilities, along with the actions of others, it causes a confusing and distressing experience.
They don't know what to do.
Another theory could be that Americans just don't know how to use a roundabout.
They weren't into
certain
it.
parts of the country where they're starting to gain favor. But the reality is that people aren't used to it. You come up to this intersection, this circle, and it tells you to yield, but you're not totally sure how to use it. and you're not used to the concept of going around in a circle to find your exit. So it's a matter of just people getting comfortable with it,
Yeah.
getting used to it. And that comes with critical mass. The more of them there are, the better. So I think that's what the main reluctance is.
Many states don't even require teenagers to navigate one during the road skills driver's exam to obtain their
should.
licenses. Even in the turn section on the Virginia State Driver's Evaluation, the roundabout portion reads only if available. American drivers end up learning how to drive through a roundabout during their first real-world encounter with them. This can cause a stressful experience due to the lack of familiarity. Therefore, the disdain for the experience is established. Lastly, it comes down to awareness. Many Americans don't know how beneficial roundabouts are. Not only do roundabouts reduce vehicle collisions by 38%, they are also cheaper to construct, reduce congestion, and are better for the environment. Roundabouts save about $5,000 to $10,000 per year due to the reduced maintenance and electrical cost. They also improve traffic flow. Cars do not have to stop and wait for the light to change. One study of 3 locations in New Hampshire, New York, and Washington found an 89% average reduction in vehicle delays and a 56% average reduction in vehicle stops in areas where roundabouts replace intersections. Another study in Kansas, across 11 intersections, found similar results, with a 65% reduction in delays and a 52% decrease in traffic stops. Because of the reduction in
People
traffic
just don't know how to
delays and
drive.
stops, roundabouts have a relatively non-existent carbon footprint. One study in Sweden found an average reduction in carbon emissions by 29% and a reduction in fuel consumption by 28%. Fortunately, it is proven that more and more Americans are coming around to accepting and using roundabouts. Studies show that once drivers learn how to use them, their attitude towards roundabouts drastically changes.
Of
Community
course.
surveys where roundabouts were built shows that only 30% of people approved of them before construction, but approval increased to about 50 to 70% after they were built. So, while modern roundabouts may not be widely popular in the US, Americans are slowly coming back around to the idea of them.
I don't know.
How do you feel?
I guess a lot of places don't have roundabouts, so that's the reason why some people don't know how to use them. Let me show you guys what our roundabout looks like. This is our roundabouts that I take quite often. And this is at Jones Beach. As you can see, we have them. Well, actually, no. Last time I took this roundabout was probably in the summertime, but there is one that I do take very, very often, but I couldn't find any pictures, any videos of that specific roundabout. But as you can see, it's very simple. Everybody know where to go, when to yield. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.